ANTIFA is back. No. Well, not right now, but yeah, it was showing clips. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Lift off.
Bold journalist.
But Drew Hernandez is a strong-minded individual.
Exposing lawlessness.
Drew Hernandez, who is ideological.
Finding the truth.
And use the word Antifa.
This is what they do.
Battling
They're
mainstream
liars. The woke mob, all they can do is lie.
These are the front lines.
What's going on, thought criminals? Welcome to Frontlines. I am your host, Drew Hernandez. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend. I know Atlanta was fiery, but mostly peaceful. Again with this stuff with the mainstream fake news media cartel. Well, Antifa has returned, and they have returned in a vengeance. Out of control like always, lighting up Atlanta, lighting police cars on fire. Armed with explosives, according to the mayor, obviously vandalizing like always. And what's interesting, again, mainstream media, local mainstream media is there literally feet away recording them vandalizing buildings and saying that they're protesters and claiming that it's largely peaceful. It's a largely peaceful protesters. We're going to get into all of this and more when we come up right now. My name is Drew Hernandez. These are the front lines. Let's get straight into this. All right, Atlanta burns as Antifa riot after comrade shot dead by a police officer in autonomous zone gunfight. On Saturday night, Antifa members took to the streets of Atlanta to throw rocks at and light fires outside of the Atlanta Police Foundation after the now suspended Atlanta Forest Twitter account called for a night of rage following the fatal shooting of one of their members, 26-year-old Manuel Esteban Paez Terran. After Atlanta Treehouse Antifa defended an autonomous zone in Atlanta, police attempted to clear the zone and reported one of the Antifa militants fired a shot and hit a police officer, which obviously led to an Antifa militant getting killed. Well, here is the footage. If you didn't see it, it's astronomically viral all over social media. Treehouse Antifa Atlanta tearing Atlanta up. There they are. Attacking a police officer's squad car. There they are, all black bloc, okay? Incinerated a squad car because, you know, they're just protesters. According to fake news media cartel, that's what they want you to believe, which is absolutely ridiculous. But this is what Antifa does. These are the myths. The myths are back, ladies and gentlemen. The myths are back in full power. None of those people exist.
The police vehicle is on fire. Yeah, we should back up. Back up, everybody. Where those shots are from the car.
Yeah, you know, Jerry Nadler, President Joe Biden, they want you to believe those are just a bunch of ideas running around, myths running around, mythological creatures just walking around, running around the street. There's a bunch of mythological creatures running around downtown Atlanta, lighting up, incinerating police squad cars, breaking buildings, vandalizing. None of those people are real, guys, all right? Even local media wants you to believe those are all mythological creatures. It's like Harry Potter, okay? You're just not supposed to believe it. It's just some kind of simulation, and they're all protesters, which by the way, if you don't believe me, here's the local fake news media cartel again, running cover for these people, calling them protesters while they vandalize and riot. Just take a look at this clip.
We're taking you right now. You can see people running in opposite directions, and on the other side
Eric,
of that. Yeah, Tyler.
I do want to. Yeah, we're far enough away. You'll see the officer right there with APD. He has what appears to be zip ties. We're not far enough down where we can't see if they've taken anyone into custody, but it did appear that they were ready to do that, to try to calm the situation that's unfolding here. And as you said, this really a protest initially to try to protest what happened on Wednesday here, where I mean, they were handing out that vehicle still up in flames here over at Andrew Young and Peachtree. And if you take a look over here, if you pan over, I want to show you. This is what they were handing out at that protest. So it was a largely peaceful protest where they just wanted what they're calling justice for so sorry. And right now, you'll see, basically, they want justice for him after the shooting that happened when the Atlanta police and the different law enforcement agencies were raiding the forest over there to try to basically clear out the forest after everything that was going on. We're all related to this. It was Entrenchment Creek Park.
I do think that, you know, you keep using these words, violent, and it gives the impression, I mean, the only violence or the only acts of violence against people that I saw were actually police tackling protesters.
Largely peaceful protest as a police squad car is incinerated, okay, as a squad car is incinerated right behind this hack reporter. These are the so-called qualified local news reporters. These people are a joke. Okay, that's why people like me and Kayla Dalmeda and independent reporters are on the rise. This is why you see us rising, because these hack local reporters are totally irrelevant, okay, cannot report accurately, cannot even speak articulately, but there's a reason why they're there, right? There's a reason why they're there, because they're there to push propaganda. Oh, there's cars burning behind me, but it's largely peaceful. What a joke. That's why the fake news media cartel on a national and local level are failing, and they're failing miserably. And that is why alternative media is rising, because people are sick of this crap. Oh, there was no violence going on other than the police brutality. It was the police. The police were super violent when literally Antifa were the ones that shot a police officer, and they effed around and they found out, like always. You don't believe me? Look at this clip of these Antifa LARPers. They're all white. Okay, you could see their little faces, their stupid little faces through their black bloc. All these white little Antifa LARPers, George Floyd LARPing, as they get mopped up by the police for rioting, vandalizing, and lighting police squad cars on fire, saying, "I can't breathe! I can't breathe!" Take a look.
So you can hide it? So you can hide it? Make it quick so you can hide it? We all got it on video.
Hey. I can't breathe! I can't breathe! You know what's crazy about that? You have these white Antifa LARPers, okay? They're George Floyd LARPers. I think that cop was black. I think he was. Can you pull that up? Parker, can you throw that up there? He's arresting one of the LARPers on the floor. I think that was a black police officer towards the far right. Well, yes, it's a black police officer. I can't breathe! I can't breathe! Help me! Help me! These people are so ridiculous, right? They claim to be anti-fascist. We're going against the fascist police because the police are the SS, and we're going after the secret police. We're going after the Gestapo, and we're facing fascism. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to start a violent revolution, and we're going to literally burn police squad cars. We're going to vandalize buildings. We're going to put people's lives in danger. We're going to be armed with explosives because we're facing Hitler, and we're facing the SS, and we're facing fascism. But when the police crack down on them for breaking the law and rioting, Bobby, please, Mommy, get the bank account! Get the bill! Get me out of here! I can't handle the fascists! These people are pathetic. Pathetic. Yes, they're violent and they're a threat, but they're pathetic, dude. They sit there and they scream and they LARP and they cry like a bunch of babies because they're just pampered millennials, okay, that probably went like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, all privileged, going to university, not to get higher learning and to get educated, but to get indoctrinated by the communists, okay, that are there not as professors and educators, but are there as literal plants, okay, to indoctrinate their minds, to get them to hate America, get violent, take to the streets, and dismantle this country from within. But I can't handle it. I'm facing fascism and I can't handle it, Mom. Please, please, Mommy, help me. I joined Antifa and the police are mad at me. It's just... Okay, no, on a serious note, these people are violent, okay? On a serious note, they're domestic terrorists, all right? Bunch of mythological creatures running around, according to Jerry Nadler and President Joe Biden. These people don't exist. It's just an idea running around, right? Well, even the mayor of Atlanta reported the night of the riot that these people were armed with explosives. Take a look.
Many of them don't even live in Atlanta or in the state of Georgia, and they don't represent the voices of Atlanta. And some of them were found with explosives on them. You heard that correctly, explosives, and that has led to a police officer's car being set on fire, and other destruction has occurred. And so make no mistake about it, these individuals meant harm to people and to property.
Oh, of course.
And so to the
Of course. But the local media says they're protesters. They're protesters. The First Amendment does not cover violence and rioting, period. The First Amendment does not cover firebombing police squad cars. Okay, but the mainstream media, they're protesters. Leave them alone. It's the police. It's the police that are violent. Well, and by the way, I think Andy No did report that some of these violent Antifa militants, turns out one of them was like a former CNN employee. Of course, because, of course, right? Well, we sent our very own Frontlines reporter, Kaylin Dalmeda, down to Atlanta to document the aftermath of what these domestic terrorists did, because we know the local media is not going to do it, so we had to go down and do it. So take a look.
Kaylin Dalmeda reporting for Frontlines here in downtown Atlanta. Now behind me you may recognize the Hard Rock Cafe from social media, because this is the exact location where an Atlanta PD squad car was vandalized and burnt to the ground last night during a violent militant Antifa riot. Now, this street right here is Peachtree Street, and just a block up is the Atlanta Police Foundation. Now, that building was vandalized, and as the rioters made their way down the street, they actually vandalized two banks. So just behind me, up the street a little bit, there is a Truist Bank where they destroyed some windows, as well as a Wells Fargo where they destroyed some automated teller machines, as well as some windows. Now, if I check social media and I retrace some of the video footage and try to figure out where exactly this riot went after this point, I will find a video that shows me these individuals took a right-hand turn on John Portman Boulevard. Now, here on John Portman Boulevard, if you look at any of the footage on Twitter about the events that occurred last night, you'll recognize some of these buildings. Now, this is where at least 6 of the rioters were apprehended, and one was confirmed to have been a former CNN employee. Now, I'm standing in front of 191 Peachtree Tower. This is where the Atlanta Police Foundation is actually located in downtown Atlanta. You'll notice many of these windows behind me are broken. Many have been repaired already. Now, the mayor of Atlanta has stated that if you are somebody who wants to participate and engage in this sort of criminal behavior, that you will be found, you will be arrested, and you will be brought to justice.
Absolutely great work, Kaylin, on the ground. Guys, we have a lot more coming up when we come back from the break, so stay with us. All right, let's go. All right, well, I'm going to give you guys a warning. As always, we cover some pretty dark stuff because we're living in some dark times here in this part of the timeline in the United States of America, at the world at large. We did cover this story a few months ago, but there have been updates. Post-Millennial reported a gay Georgia couple indicted for sexually abusing adopted children. No surprise there. Participating in LGBTQ pedophile ring. Post-Millennial reported, we're learning new details about a gay couple in Florida arrested last year accused of repeatedly sexually assaulting their 2 adopted sons. According to a report by Town Hall, Zachary and William Zulak were prominent in the Georgia LGBTQ plus scene. They were allegedly pimping their 2 sons out to a local pedophile ring. Court documents have shocking details of the abuse that the 2 sons were forced to endure, much of which was filmed. The Zalaks are also facing charges of soliciting other men to engage in the sexual abuse of their young son, which left him with physical injuries. Police found nearly 150 images at the Zalaks' home, in addition to multiple flash drives and cell phone data. Of course, depraved homosexuals taking advantage of their children, exploiting them to pedophile rings, because, trusting people that are totally depraved, that love gay anal sex, we should totally trust people with children that engage with that kind of stuff. Listen, you just can't. You can't. You absolutely can't, because people think that you could control sin. This is the problem. Even the fake Christians and fake conservatives out there, this is where you get it wrong. Sin, according to God, is uncontrollable. And when it gets out of control, there's no containing little versions of conservative sin, okay? And once that begins to happen and it gets normalized in society, you get Romans chapter 1 and you start to see very dark and depraved stuff just like this. It's pretty disgusting, but it's no surprise to me. I pray for the children, man, because the children are the ones that are hurt in the process. And it's absolutely disgusting and it's horrific to see this. Well, speaking of disgusting and horrific, one of my good friends, Taylor Hansen, independent journalist, again with another expose on an all-age drag show that took place in Moxie Austin University in Texas with more children in attendance. Take a look at how this went. All right, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. I'm telling you, man, this stuff, it only gets worse from here, okay? It only gets worse from here with these depraved homosexuals, these depraved lesbians, okay? Like I always say, the trans community is not real. Trans people are not in existence. They're all just gay or they're lesbians. And then they run around with their depravity, spreading their legs in front of little boys because of tolerance and pride, and we should just be gay and trans, and it's amazing, so bring your child right in front of us so I could spread my legs and open my genitals to a child's eyeballs. It's disgusting. You need to get rid of this stuff. It needs to be checked absolutely immediately. Speaking of LGBTQ freaks, here's this freak on TikTok saying that, hey, if you don't have a family, you can come live with me.
If you need a family, you can come hang out with me. They may not see the real you, but that does not mean that you're not real. I love you very much.
Oh, God. I bet you do love little kids very much. Look at these people. Why are you crying?
Cry.
Why?
With love.
Why? Why do you need... I know the answer to this question. These people are obsessed with children. Because I love you. And I start crying because I need the validation of children. I need children around me. I just need children. Let me ask you a quick and honest question, okay? Would you trust your child with that thing? Would you? Would you trust your child alone with that freak, that clearly mentally unstable psycho? Of course not. Of course, anyone honest with themselves, unless you got some skulls in the closet, will say no, and that's kind of where we're at right now. All right, well, the gays and the homosexuals want to take over everything. So they want to take over the church. We've been seeing this develop for a few years. It's getting more prominent. Here are some reports from a website called Anglican. They document the homosexuals trying to take over Christianity, Catholicism, or just anything that has to do with God. Gay sex not a sin, Archbishop of York says, unless it's blessed by the COE. During a press conference last week in London, the Archbishop of York, Rev. Stephen Cottrell, was asked if he thought gay sex in the context of a loving, lifelong relationship is a sin. He responded that if a same-sex couple comes to him seeking church services, he doesn't ask questions. Oh yeah, because God doesn't ask any questions. It's not addressed in the Bible, right? He celebrates the fact that they are wanting to commit themselves in a stable, loving relationship. See how it goes emotional immediately? Doesn't get biblical, goes straight to the emotion. This is what wolves in sheep clothing do. They don't go to the Bible. They go to the emotional argument. That's how they manipulate weak-minded people. And goes to say, I believe the great gift of sexual and physical intimacy to be cherished belongs in stable, loving, committed relationships. Therefore, I will celebrate the fact that people are living that way and expressing intimacy that way. And another individual that spoke at the same thing said, homosexuals, in a nutshell, I'm paraphrasing, homosexuals must no longer be chaste in order to lead godly lives, says a bishop of London. Here's the thing. I'll give you 3 sections of scripture. I'll just give you 2. I'll give you 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and Romans chapter 1. Very clear when it comes to the topic of homosexuality. There is no conservative version of homosexuality to start, okay? One might argue and say, well, I have a gay friend that is economically conservative, so, they get a pass. Whatever, all right? Christianity. When it comes to God and biblical Christianity, we're in another lane right here. This is where I argue, because I'm a Christian before I'm a conservative. Whatever. Screw the human institutes. Let's go to the heavenly institute where the Bible addresses this. Are there gay Christians? 1 Corinthians chapter 6. No homosexual, sodomite, extortioner, murder, you name it, will enter the kingdom of heaven. And then the Apostle Paul says, as were such some of you, you've been washed, cleansed, sanctified, they're going to heaven. That tells me that the Bible has addressed homosexuality for a very long time, because even the Apostle Paul was telling homosexuals in Corinth that they have been saved. So that means a homosexual has to repent as well. There's no gay Christian. It's not real. Are there Christians that have come out of that lifestyle and they struggle with that temptation every single day in the power of God to overcome now that they've been born again? Absolutely. But anyone, according to 1 John, anyone that's living a habitual lifestyle of sin and also justifying it, the Bible says, is not a child of God, is not born of God. The seed of God, which means you're born again, does not live in you. It actually says you are of your father, the devil, because you do his desires. There are no gay Christians. These are wolves in sheep's clothing, and they manipulate people with emotional arguments. They don't take you to the Bible. There is no Christianity without the Bible, period. Let's get that clear. So all self-proclaiming Christians, whether you say I'm on the left or I'm on the right, whatever, there is no Christianity without involving the Bible in its context, especially when it comes to homosexuality. This started at the beginning. God created Adam and Eve, biological male, biological female, period. And there are consequences to homosexuality according to the Bible as well. Listen, these are not my words. These are God's words. I'm just the messenger, and I'm obedient to him, not conservatism, not an organization, to Jesus Christ himself. My name is Drew Hernandez. These are the front lines. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, I got to find Kaylin. Amen, bro.